Hello guys, and welcome to this video on preprocessor and macros. A C preprocessor is just a substitution tool, and it instructs the compiler to do some required pre-processing before the actual process compilation. So basically what the preprocessor does is it tells or it gives instruction to the C program to do some things, maybe to fetch some files before it does the final compilation. So all preprocessor commands begin with the hash symbol, and I believe that you've seen them, you know them already, like the include we use when we want to import the stdio header file is a preprocessor. So here is a list of some preprocessors that you may want to know about. We have the define, which substitutes a preprocessor macro. We have the include, which we use to include a particular header file like the std.io. We have the ondef, ifdef, ifndef, ifdef, else, elifdef, endif, error, and pragma. So, without talking too much, I believe that we should get into it quickly. So I'm going to open up my editor right now and let's begin. So currently I have no file inside of this folder, so we'll start afresh. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create our main file. So I will call this main C. And like you know already, like I told you, this is a preprocessor. The include statement here is a preprocessor, and we are going to use it to include the stdio.stdio header file. Then we can create our basic function. So int main, then let's return 0, and we can close it. So basically this is our simple C program, and this is our header file stdio, and we are using the preprocessor include to bring in this file. So now let's create some actual preprocessor. Let's use the statements. So assuming we want to create some preprocessor, the first thing we want to do is we want to put them inside of an header file. So let's assume we want to work with pi. To create a pi preprocessor header file, we say pi, so you give it a name, pi.h, okay? And now that we have the name, remember we use ifndef, so let's go back and check that. So ifndef returns true if this macro is not defined, okay? So we are going to use that, and we would say the preprocessor symbol, that is hash, ifndef, then the name of the macro. So we want to create pi. Then you have to end it. So you say end if. Then right inside of it, we can now create the file. So the preprocessor. So to define it, you use the define preprocessor. So we have used 3 preprocessors in this file. So we say define, then pi. So you see the name up here must match the name down here. So the name of the ifndef, if this file exists, then you define it. So let's give it a number. So we can say 3 point. We know that pi is 3.142, but I'm going to call this something. I will call this 31.435, so that you know that it is coming from this file and not from the constant that has been established inside of the C program. So we can save this and we can exit. Now let's open up our main C file again, main.c file. Now what if we want to output what we have inside of the pi file? It's simple. So what we do is we have to include, using the include preprocessor, that pi file. So remember the name of the file is pi.h, and there you have it, the file has been included. So it's going to bring in what we defined in there. Then right here we can actually print f the pi statement. So remember it is a double, so we say %lf, then the name of the file, okay, not the file but the preprocessor, what we've defined inside of the preprocessor, so it is called, we defined it as pi. Then we can actually go back and print this out. So I want all the figures to be printed out. So let's go back and compile this. So we say gcc, we are compiling main.c to output it into a file called main. It has been compiled, and let's run it. Main, and as you can see, pi is 3.435000. Just to confirm that, let's check our pi file. So pi.h. As you can see, this is what we defined it as, 331.435, and as you can see, we have 31.435 here. Let's try it again. So I'm going to clear everything, and let's create a new file. Let's call this one age.c. Sorry, .h is an header file. So let's go again. We say ifndef, okay? So we want to call this one age. So let's say age. Then don't forget to close it. So we use end if. Then we can now define it here. We say age, define age to be what? So age could be, let's say 300, okay? And now we can save this file and we can exit. Then we can use it in our main.c file. So how do you use it? Before you use it, you have to import it because now it's an header file. So you say include, it's in the same folder, so you use quotes, age.h, yes. Then now we can print it out. So we can say printf. Since age is an integer, okay, so we can use I or D, so percentage D. Then we want it on a new line. Then we can call age, okay. Or let's make it a bit more dramatic. So let's say age as defined in header file. That's quite long. We can also do this. Let's put this at precision of 5. So we have 5 decimal points. So we say pi as defined is, okay. And now let's go back and run this. So now we can compile our main file. Oh, there's an error somewhere. Let's see what we have, where we made the error. So printf h as defined in header file. Oh, so the ending quote is not here. That is why. Good. Now we have the ending quote. We can now proceed. So we can compile again. Compile successful. So let's clear this. And now we can run the file main. And as you can see, age as defined. So let me open up the two files, main.h, sorry, cat age.h and cat pi.h. So you can see we have all our files. The first one was where we defined age as 300 inside of the age.header file, and as you can see, we are calling it in the main C file. And we also have the other where we did that for pi, and we are also using pi in the main C file. So you see, that is how you can create your own header files, and you can use the ifndef define and endif preprocessor. So as you can see already, these are preprocessors. Define, you know how to use it now. Include, you know how to use it now. Ifdef or ifndef are actually the same. You can decide to use any. End if is to end the preprocessor conditional. Also, we can even create functions inside of preprocessors. So let's try that. Let's create a function that does multiplication. So I'll call this vim multiply.h, and let's put in our preprocessors again. If ifndef, then we end it. Don't forget to end it. ifndef. So this is a conditional that check if the file exists. Then we can now define it. So we define the function. We can call it multiply. Then we want it to take how many variables? We want it to take 2, so x, y. Then space. Then what you want the function to do? So we want it to multiply x, okay, times y. And that's simple. This is a function. So this is a function that takes in 2 arguments, x and y, and it does a multiplication on their value. So let's use that in our print, in our main file, main C file. So vim main.c, and okay, so I'm just going to delete this guy so that we work afresh. So let's go. Now I'm going to assign that variable. Okay, so I'm just going to call out the value. So let's define a variable. I think we'll get an integer from that multiplication because I'm going to multiply integers. So I'll call this results. Then we assign that function to it. So what was the function? The function was multiply, and the function was taking 2 variables. So let's do 20 times 5. So let's print f the result. So we say the result of multiply is, so we are dealing with what? We are dealing with an integer, so it's a d. Let's put it on a new line, and the result we want is coming from multiply. Okay. Oh, sorry, not multiply. We've assigned it to a variable called results. Then we've not done something, so I'm going to delete this include files we have here, and we have to include the multiply. We have to include the multiply header that we created, the header file multiply.h. Okay, so now we can save this and we can exit out. Just to confirm, I want to see. Oh, you see there is a problem here. I did not define it. I used it, but I did not define it, so I have to define it. Okay, so most times it's better you use it in capital letter, so multiply. So let's also change the function name to a capital letter. So you see, guys, we would have had errors if we had run this file. So multiply. So I'm saving again. Save. So let's go back to our main C file. Okay, so we have to correct this error we have here. So the function is multiply in capital letter. So I can save now, and we can quit. Then now let's compile our file. So gcc main C to a main file. There's another error, so let's fix that. It's from the main file. I did not end the quote. I always make that error myself. So this quote was not closed. This is it, this one. I've closed it now, so we should be out of this. So I'm compiling again. Let me clear before I do it. So I'm recompiling. Good, file has been compiled, so let's clear before we run it. So main, and as you can see, the result of multiply is 100. So let me open up the multiply file so that you see what is inside. Then let me open our main C file. So good. The function we created is this, ifndef multiply. So multiply takes in 2 variables, x and y. And in our main C file, we included the multiply.h file. Then we also used it, assigned it to a result, then passed the 2 arguments to it. Then we print f the result. So guys, that is it on using preprocessor and macros as header files in your C program. But also, before we close this, there are some predefined macros, and let's check how to use them. So we have the date, time, file, line, and stdc. So let's run this and see what we get as our result. So we go again. So I'm going to clear everything we have here. So clear. And let's use our main C file again, main.c. So right now, I'm going to delete everything. So because we are using predefined ones, so we don't need to include, we only need to include stdio, which makes it easy for us to use the printf statement. So let's begin. So the first one will be printf, just like we saw here. The first one is, so we'll do date, time, file, line, stdc, all right? So date, time, file, line, stdc. So let's start with date. So printf, and we just say date. So date is going to come out as a string. So that will be S, new line, close that out. Then remember double underscore date because it's predefined. So we close the bracket. Then we go for the next one. All right. So the next one is time file. So let's do that again. So time file. So I want to be efficient. So let me see if I can copy this and just paste it. Okay, good. So now that we have them, so we can just edit. So I'm going to go in one by one. And so this one is time. It's still going to be a string. We just need to change this to time. The next one is file. File. Then we also have line. So line is going to be an integer, D. The last one is also stdc, and C is going to be an integer, stdc. stdc. So I think this one is stdc or ANSI. All right. So we can compile this now and run it. So we save this, go back out there, compile it, and let's run this. And as you can see, so let me cut that file, or let me clear, let's do this again. So main, then cut of main.c. So you can see for the first one, printf date, today's date is November the 13th of 2022. And the time, I'm recording this by almost 4, okay, this is like 3 in very early in the morning in Nigeria. So when guys are sleeping, that's when I'm doing this recording, as you can see right now. Then file, this is it, main C file. Remember our name, file name is main C. Then line, so I think this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's telling you where this line is. So this is what is on line 9. Then also the stdc and ANSI. So basically these are the predefined preprocessors in C programming language. And as you can see, defined as 1 when the compiler compiles with the ANSI standard, which happens here. So it's 1. So line is the current line number as decimal points. Then the file contains the current file name as a literal. Then this is the character literal of time and character literal of date, which you can see right now. So guys, this is it on preprocessor and macros in C language. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.